this unless you don't want to, but I do need you to make sure that you state that it is the city's depository pursuant to Kansas statute, because that does need to be part of the minutes.
Certainly. Any public comment on new business item number 5? That being the case, questions for Laura?
The only other thing I can add is I've not found any record anywhere that anybody else has ever been the city's bank. And I've been here a long time, and I haven't found anything else, even accidentally, that they weren't our bank. So that's likely to be a large part of why others don't bid.
I was going to ask why we saw so little response.
That would, well, and we haven't ever, as much as we try, we don't get response, and that's likely it. And another part of it is you have to be a pretty sizable bank to collateralize our account.
Absolutely. Thank you, Laura.
I move that we authorize the city administrator to execute a 3-year agreement with a 1-year renewal option for banking services with Metcalf Bank for the period beginning January 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2016, and designate Metcalf Bank as the city's depository pursuant to KSA 9-1401.
Second.
Motion Freeman, second Shute, that we authorize the city administrator to execute a 3-year agreement with a 1-year renewal option for banking services with Metcalf Bank for the period beginning January 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2016, and designate Metcalf Bank as the city's depository pursuant to KSA 9-1401. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. New business item number 6. Consider adopting a resolution describing the 2013 corporate limits and boundaries of the city of Gardner. Hey, you're not Laura.
Thank you.
Brian, good evening.
This is another end-of-the-year bookkeeping item. The state of Kansas requires that the city file a new and revised corporate limits description and official city map each year if our boundaries have changed. And in 2013, the City Council did pass Ordinance 1895, which changed our corporate limits, and that's where we annexed the Waverly Lift Station site, roughly 0.13 acres. So we've attached to your CAF a resolution.
1899.
1899. That provides a legal description for the corporate limits for the city. Track number 6 was added, and that's for the Waverly Lift Station site. And we've also attached a city map, and you can't even see the 0.131 acres on it, but trust me, it's there. So. And so this evening, we request that you adopt Ordinance 1899, describing the 2013 corporate city limits and boundaries of the city of Gardner, Kansas.
Okay. Any public comment on new business item number 6? No one coming forward. Does anyone have questions for Brian regarding the new business item?
I just have one very simple question. Just looking at the map, Brian, just a very brief description of the exceptions that are within the map and the reason for those exceptions, for those that might not, like myself, may not be aware.
Those are actually just areas that have not been annexed into the city.
Within the city, okay.
Just the one right north of the new school, Grand Street. That's an agricultural use. Those people have not annexed into the city. So that's one of the exceptions.
Very good.
I move that we adopt resolution number 1899, describing the 2013 corporate city limits and boundaries of the city of Gardner, Kansas.
Second.
Motion Shute, second Freeman, that we adopt resolution 1899 describing the 2013 corporate city limits and boundaries of the city of Gardner, Kansas. Roberts?
Yes.
Freeman?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
Shute?
Yes.
Resolution 1899 passes. New business item number 7. Consider passing an ordinance revising Chapter 2.20, Police Department the Gardner Municipal Code to suspend the current Reserve Officer Unit Program.
Good evening, Mayor.
Hollenberg, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I come before you tonight to ask that we please take the opportunity to review this, Chapter 2.20.020, in which the Chief of Police of Gardner, Kansas is authorized to have and maintain a Reserve Officer Program. I ask tonight that we take the opportunity to look at that program and ask that I be able to suspend it by revising that code and suspending the Reserve Program. I have provided you a description and a reason as to why I want to do this. If you care to, I can read from it. Just that the Gardner Police Department has maintained a Reserve Officer Unit Program since the 1970s. Since its original inception, federal, state, and local criminal laws have become more complex. Early training needs and officer safety issues have made the patrol officer position more technical and complicated. Ongoing demands due to legal updates and state-mandated training have placed significant strains on the training budget. These demands, coupled with the need to expend funds wisely, have necessitated the focus of budgeted training dollars towards full-time officers as opposed to reserve unit officers. In order to maintain a current level of training for full-time officers and increase their competency level, it is necessary to suspend the Reserve Officer Unit Program as it lives now in its current form. Just a little bit of history about this. Everything I can find out that somewhere along the line the Reserve Program was brought on board, again, just somewhere in the 1970s. No one really seems to know when. It has been a program that's been in existence that really should have had a lot more maintenance to it than what it has had in the recent years. You know, we have had some very dedicated reserve officers who I'd like to point out, one, Eric Gurley sitting in the audience here tonight, has been very dedicated, loyal, and have shown up on a routine basis and a regular basis. However, really for the most part, over the course of last year, the program has little, if almost no, participation. One of the goals I have discussed with our city administrator, Cheryl Harrison Lee, is for 2014, I want to focus on basically building the depth of the Gardner Police Department and the current full-time officers we have so that we can provide a higher level of service to the citizens of this community. That means more training for them, more dollars for them to send them to training, and more time to work with them. And as it stands right now, I just can't see focusing a good portion of my energy and the department's energy in maintaining the reserve program when we could really focus it elsewhere, and that's in our full-time officers. That does not mean that maybe at some point in the future, when I feel that we've reached, as an agency, that professional goal that we can afford to bring back in a reserve program, that I will not go back out and revisit it and try to resurrect it and bring it back. Which I think right now, for the needs, we need to suspend it.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Might want to just hang close, but we haven't had anybody come forward for public comments yet, but now would be the opportunity for someone to come forward if they've got public comment on new business item number 7. With no one stepping forward, council have questions for Chief Collins.
I have just a couple quick questions, Chief. Just the number of reserves that we have right now?
Currently, we have 11.
11. And how often are they called into duty? Maybe just over the past year, past 2 years as an example.
Sir, I can only really comment to my 6 months since I've been here. Again, outside of Reserve Officer Gurley and Tim Phillips, we've only used them one time that I'm aware of, and that was just to stand corners at the 4th of July parade.
Okay.
We've had no other really use for them, nor have we had any volunteering for them to come in and assist us.
Since this has been added to the agenda, have you received any feedback from the reserve officers, either opposing or anything else?
I have received one feedback from one officer just asking that we keep it.
Okay.
And that's been it. There's been no feeling either way from anyone else.
The last question I have is just by eliminating the reserve program, will it add any potential overtime with the full-time officers to make it create more of a budget impact than we would have with the reserve program?
With the addition of the 4 officers that we have with the 2 in 2013 and 2014, I do not see that happening. Now, I did absorb the court bailiff position into my overtime budget.
Okay.
And that creates an overtime issue, but it's not really that much. Compared to what we are really expending as far as our overtime in the court, it doesn't save us that much.
Great. Those are the questions I had. Thanks, Chief.
All right, thank you.
I had a couple really quick ones, Chief. I appreciate your your concern about, I'm looking at the reserve officer